Hello, everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. Before I get into today's episode and what we're going to cover in today's show, I just want everyone to realize that this weekend is Memorial Day weekend and great weekend to spend with friends, family, barbecue, enjoy family, love your friends, and have a great time. But just also remember the people of service, the people that are in the military, the people who gave up their life for the ideals that we stand for. And also think about across the country, the Blue family, guys that are working this weekend, walking a footpost out in Coney Island, walking a footpost up in Harlem, walking a footpost in Queens, protecting people's right to protest by going to all of these protests against the war in Israel. And I'm not taking a side, but the people that protect that freedom of speech right are the popo, the police. They were the ones who enable people to express themselves, whether you agree with them or not. That's part of Americana. People allowed to voice their opinions against perhaps the mainstream or perhaps the government. And the constant is that the police are there to protect their rights. And the police come away, no matter what kind of a job they do, as not being liked. But that's part of taking that job. It's part of raising your right hand and swearing to protect the Constitution of the state of New York, protect the Constitution of the United States, and fulfill your duties as your obligation is once you raise your right hand and take that oath. Anyway, having said that, I want everyone to have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy, and the Police Off the Cuff family will endure, and we will maybe bring you a show this weekend. We'll see. Today, I'm going to put this out there. So, folks, this case, of course, is become just an infamous case, and I want everyone to appreciate really the outstanding work that was done and continues to be done in this case. Think of how quickly 4 people were arrested, and then, of course, a 5th person who you see here, Paul Grace, was added to this rogues gallery. And let's not forget that they are all facing murder in the first degree. And we're learning more heinous details about this crime. And then even the relationship with an organization called God's Misfits, were the perpetrators in this case, were they somehow mind controlled to join Granny there in the lower left of this picture to take part in a double murder of 2 innocent women? I guess Granny hated them so much. And there, of course, in the middle of this picture is Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley. And Jilian Kelley, 100% innocent. She was just escorting Veronica Butler to do the exchange of her children, not even remotely aware what was to await them, So just crazy. So we're going to go into this case about what new is it and what is new is happening in this case. And not just what's new, but how are they going to use the evidence that they have to prove that these are the right people. All right. Because I get emails all the time from people because I tell everyone in my opening, in my monologue, this is true crime from a police perspective. And I'm not going to try this case in a YouTube video of a very complicated case. That belongs in the courtroom. But what I am going to do is I'm going to give you true crime from a police perspective and analyze this case as I think and as I know and as from my experience, my education, and my know-how will allow. So, folks, hang on to your seats, hang on to your hat, hang on to your wig or your toupee, because you're about to enter true crime from a police perspective. You're about to enter the off-the-cuff zone. You're about to enter police off the cuff. There has to be some common sense.
Yes, sir. They have the car stopped at 10th and Ranch, Michael Biden.
We still don't know who pulled the trigger.
So let's get right to it. It didn't take long for the Texas County Sheriff's Office in Oklahoma to identify the suspects in the March killings of 2 Kansas women. This is from News Nation, according to search warrants that were released Thursday. The bodies of Jilian, Kelley, and Veronica Butler were discovered in a chest freezer buried in a cow pasture, according to the documents. Butler and Kelley were traveling to a supervised visit between Butler and her children. Kelley was to be a court-ordered monitor during the visit. The kids were staying with their grandmother, Tifany Adams, the infamous woman in the upper left of the thumbnail that you see on the screen right now if you're watching this on YouTube. The kids, Tifany Adams, of course, is being held on a murder first-degree charge, as are the other 4 defendants. Authorities believe that the killing stemmed from a bitter custody fight between Kelley and Adams, the mother of the children's father. The documents say Adams had plotted to kill Butler for at least a month and had even stalked out Butler's home in Hugoton, Kansas. Also revealed was the fact the victims' phones were discovered in a pickup truck owned by Cole Twombly, another of the suspects in the deaths. Investigators also found white cloth gloves and DNA evidence, according to the documents. Investigators also seized a trailer used to haul horses or cattle from Twombly's property and recovered what may be bloodstains from inside the trailer. Police believe the stock trailer was used to move the women from the place where their car was found to the place where their bodies were discovered. The 5th suspect, Paul Grice, here he is up on the screen, was said to have had suspicious conversations with friends in the days after the women disappeared. In one, he asked someone if they knew anyone who might help him leave the country. He also wanted to know how long DNA would last if it was buried 15 feet in dirt, according to the documents. There are also conflicting stories about how Grice sustained a cut on his finger. He said it happened when he was working on his truck, but he was last seen at an Easter event with a bandage on that finger one day after the women were killed. So all of this, of course, is outstanding evidence, And when people say, oh, they were just arrested based on the eyewitness testimony or the hearsay evidence of the 16-year-old daughter of the Twombleys, right? The 16-year-old daughter came forward as a witness. And that's not strong enough to charge someone with murder in the first degree. However, match that testimonial evidence. Match that testimonial evidence with physical evidence, with blood, with fibers, with a knife, with clothing, with the bodies recovered, with burner phones being tracked to the place where the bodies were buried. So yes, all you people that want to try the case on a podcast, I'm not going for it, okay? I'm just letting you know about all of the evidence that they have in this case that they can bring forth against these defendants. So if you want to try the case right now, it's not time to try it. We got plenty of time to collect evidence. there's plenty more witnesses. When someone who is a defendant in a case tells someone or starts asking suspicious questions like, can you get myself and my family to Mexico, in the case of Paul Grace? And that person comes forward and tells at what place and time Paul Grace says this. And when someone witnesses the day after the murders, Paul Grace having a cut on his finger, and then we start seeing, oh, there was a K-bar knife recovered on the scene. Could that be Paul Grace's blood on that K-bar knife? Some of the blood in the trailer, could that be Paul Grace's blood? So all of this, these pieces of evidence that confirm the evidence that they have, that they were able to develop the probable cause to make these arrests, makes for quite a powerful little case. I'm going to put Banfield on, and she's going to talk about some of the new documents that are available in this case.
That fifth man, Allison, Paul Grace, turns out he made some overwhelmingly stupid mess ups. And that is, he had a bandage on his right finger and told some stories several times to several people that didn't match. And he asked a friend some very, very incriminating questions. So walk me through all of that.
It's so interesting. You were waiting for him to get arrested and kept wondering why he hadn't gotten arrested when the police were busy figuring out how many mistakes he had made along the way that they can use against him at trial. One of the major mistakes that he made was that he used the kind of O.J. Simpson, how I cut myself defense, which it changed initially when the police asked him about it. He said that he had cut it, working on his car, on his truck. And then later he told a friend or an acquaintance that he had cut it by working on a fence. He was cutting fence, and that's how he cut it. So that changed. He also, which was most incredible, went and talked to someone who ended up being a witness to the police and told the police that he had asked questions about how long DNA can last deep in the ground in dirt. He also wanted to know if
that question is amazing to me, because I guess Paul Grace doesn't read. He doesn't read true crime, doesn't follow true crime. How long can DNA last under the ground? Well, if you would have followed the Gilgo Beach case, you would have known that it lasted for over 13 years, So to ask, oh yeah, it's going to just disappear in a few months. Like, is this guy kidding? But thanks for the statement. Thanks for the admission. That's almost like an admission when you're asking questions like that. So yes, these guys, everyone always asks, like, they didn't prepare well. For someone who prepared, they made a lot of mistakes, because people don't commit crime every day. Even people that do, they make mistakes all the time too. They are not, most of the time, if they get away with it, it's by accident. It has nothing to do with their brain and their planning and their experience as a criminal. It has to do with just chance, right? But in this case, it was so obvious because there was a custody battle between Tifany Adams, grandma, and let me put the picture up on the screen, and Veronica Butler, the top picture next to Tifany Adams. So then they had to put together, well, who was this genius team that she put together in order to commit this horrific crime? And, as much as I talk about this case and as much as I say, how does that level of hatred lead to murdering someone who is the mother of your grandchildren? And then back to the thumbnail, the woman in the middle there, Jilian Kelley, had nothing to do with this. She was working for the Department of Children's Services. Nothing to do with it. But yet, hey, she's got to go too. She's got to be killed too. Evil, evil, evil people.
if there was some sort of a guy who could get a family out of the country to go to Mexico. How do you get a guy and his family out of the country? It's interesting too that he, was just busy chatting about different things. Can you get DNA off of different things? I mean, and when I was reading this, the affidavit that went with the search warrant, it was just quite incredible. Like during that time, I think based on what we're seeing in the affidavit, thought about running, but wasn't sure how to do it. So he had to check with a whole bunch of different witnesses.
We used to say, when I was on the police department, we used to say, thank God criminals are stupid. Oh, we'd never catch them. We didn't give ourselves any credit for being smart, I guess. But thank God criminals are that stupid. Here they are stupid in Oklahoma. They're just as stupid in Oklahoma as they are in New York. Carol Grayston, our top moderator, thank you so much for gifting 5 police off-the-cuff memberships. Very much appreciated. The police off-the-cuff family is growing. We're all over the world. We're in Great Britain. We're Ireland, England, Scotland, Australia, crossing the globe, bringing you the constant variety of true crime. We are police off the cuff. I stole that from ABC. I hope they don't. Remember, bringing you the constant variety of sports. Well, this is not sports. This is the constant variety of true crime. And I want to thank all you guys that support this show and are here today. The old Sherry Murray, I always say, this is from the chat, stupid is as stupid does. Yeah. Just the fact of killing someone to solve your problems, that's pretty stupid, right? That's pretty damn stupid. Nighthawk 08, KK, my friend, would love to see Bill with Rock Chalk. I know Rock Chalk's got a show. I never met her. She's apparently put her life in danger going to this area a few times. You got to respect where you are, and you got to respect that there's people that don't want you there, so you should never be by yourself. What would stop one of these people from taking your life and burying you in a cornfield somewhere? Nothing, nothing. Back to Banfield here.
When
to
I'm
ask
talking
a
to the
friend,
police.
oh dear. Talk about a time you shouldn't call a friend. All right, let's talk about that iPhone. I want to go rapid fire. I got 6 more things I want to ask you. The iPhone repair guy turns the phone over to the cops. Wow. Do we know why he was suspicious?
Well, I think everybody kind of knew as soon as these women disappeared, there was stuff in the news about the custody battle. I mean, that happened pretty quickly, that there was bad blood. And that Tifany also had a reputation. It's a very small community, as Brian has told you many times. And so I think he probably knew about that. But he also, the thing you didn't mention is he gave it back to her. So the police were able to track, and it says this in the affidavit, that generally people return to the scene of a crime. They were able to see what she was up to, who she was writing to after the crime. And she thought, oh, they don't know that I have this phone. I mean, and she could move around with it and they could still ping it and everything like that. So he was very helpful to the authorities and likely will be a big witness.
Phones show, if she had the phones on her, if she is a killer, the phones show where you were at all points of the day. So if you took the phone along for the ride with the burner phones, right? I'm
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but after the police took that data, they gave it back to the phone repair guy who gave it back to Grandma Tifany. So she was still moving around.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, I'm going to ask you about the victims' iPhones too. What did because we've been wondering where their phones were. What do we know?
It was in Cole Twombly's truck. I mean, not a very good fact for the Twombly fan, I mean.
Are you kidding me?
It's just such a tragedy, this whole thing. I mean, it's these people that, it's just a real tragedy. But it was in their truck.
They didn't even think to bury the iPhones with the victims. They kept the iPhones in the truck. Okay, let's talk about
See, people in the media, they don't understand the stupidity of criminals. You see Banfield, they found the phone. Yeah, that's why we catch them, as I said, because they're stupid. When you look at that guy, Cole Twombly, I don't think you're thinking top in his class. You're not thinking of his top SAT scores. There's the guy up on top. That's Cole Twombly. He's not, his IQ is not hitting you. The brain waves aren't coming out from that photo there. Texas County Sheriff's Department. Not a bright guy, really. I don't know. Can you judge a book by its cover? Not well. They say never do, but that book, I think you can judge by its cover. He's not a bright individual. Let's get back to Banfield here.
The burial. 10 feet down always amazed me. Now we've come to find out that the women were buried in a freezer chest 10 feet under. I have all sorts of theories, but what do we know about it?
Well, we don't really know, but I also have a theory because I know how carefully they tried to cover the area. We were able to show on your show that area, how they put hay over it, how they put bricks, concrete inside to make the ground level. But I think this is an area with a lot of animals. And if there's any kind of smell coming from the ground, you're going to have animals gathering around there and digging things up. And I think that was a perfect way to seal the women in. And the worst part about it to me, when I thought about it, was just that these women were never going to be found. I mean, if it hadn't, I guess been for the confidential witness and all this other evidence we're now learning about, I mean, their families never would have known what happened to them.
Thank you for.
Well, something, you can't say that. And again, she's saying that because she doesn't understand the evidentiary process. She doesn't understand the police process. And yeah, they would have been found. You know why? Because these idiots, these morons, brought burner phones to the location, and it was tracked right to where they buried these poor women, right to where they discovered disturbed the ground with hay over it. All right. So these geniuses, yes, you can't say the police would never have caught them. There they are up on the screen. I don't know if they got, I don't know if they hit the 100 plateau out of IQ between them, So they had so much evidence. And besides the fact that, guess what these people did? They talked. They opened their mouth. Thank you. Thank you, criminals, for opening your mouth. That's Cora Twombly. Her daughter, who is 16, of course, is a blockbuster witness for the prosecution. And what do I mean by that? Well, she started telling the police as they came to the house to arrest Cora and Cole. She started telling them what she saw. She started telling them about the pickup trucks she was asked to clean. She started telling the police about overhears, what she heard them say. So all of that was, fantastic. From the chat, Sean Krager, it's so crazy this old lady was able to get 4 more people to help in this insane crime. Sean, it's amazing. You're right. You're 100% right. It is amazing. But this old lady who you refer to, this old lady up on the screen, she's only 53 years old. I don't know if she's living her life in dog years, but that's an old 53, if you ask me. That when I first saw that picture, I thought she was pushing 70. I know that's her not on her best day. She didn't get a chance to put her mascara, her makeup, and her lipstick on, but she certainly looks one hell of a way more. I'd say 17 years older than 53, which would make her 70. So she realized that, that's not old. 53 is not old. Devoir, is that I said? I have no degree in French. Devoir, that's what meth can do. Not that she was doing meth. Yeah, it could be. It could be. Emily Hayes, I'm almost 50. Holy cow. I'm hot compared. Hey, I'll tell you how old I'm 67. I think I look better than Granny Adams, 53 years old. As I said, those are dog years. If you look at how old she looks in that Lotus, that's a methy 53 in my opinion. Wow, you guys are all Robert May Queen, laugh out loud, dog years. Yeah, well, dog years are like times 7, right? So if you're 10 in dog years, you're 70, right? I could do a little bit of multiplication. I know I became a cop and not a mathematician, but so dog years, You're expediting your age, you know. Suhaila A, lies eat you up. Yeah, well, hatred eats you up, I think. That's what really eats you up, is that she had a distinct amount of hatred. Sana Elise Hoth Johnson, thank you so much for the NOK19 super sticker. I like your dog there in that picture in the thumbnail on the screen. Thank you so much. You're such a huge supporter of Police Off the Cuff. From the chat, Winnie Keith, bottom line, they believe they were above the law. Sovereign citizens do not recognize the laws. They knew they were going to lose custody. Oklahoma is very big on biological BGO. Wendy Keith, thank you for your contribution and your statements. I love reading the chat. I love pointing out Lieutenant Peter Pranzo, Harlem Raiders. Lieutenant Pete, thank you so much for your service, especially on this Memorial Day weekend. We all thank you. We all salute you. Lieutenant Pete Pranzo, a real NYPD hero. Medal of Valor winner. I don't know. They say when I say that, it's the incorrect terminology. I think you're a winner if you get the Medal of Valor, but we're supposed to say is Medal of Valor recipient. So he's the recipient and he's a winner. So I'll use both. And if people don't like it, too bad. Lieutenant Peter Pranzo, NYPD Medal of Valor recipient. Such a great guy. Again, from a local news station in Oklahoma. And I know some of this isn't 100% brand new, but I think it's good to analyze this information and to show, especially to some of the people, and I know I don't want to beat it to death, that send me emails and say, oh, you're just saying there's a lot of things you don't know about. These people may not have done it. And I'm just like, okay. Stop. Do you ever watch my monologue? You ever watch my opening where I say true crime from a police perspective? That's what I'm giving you. I'm giving you the police perspective. And I'm not giving you the lawyer perspective. There's a million lawyers on YouTube. The lawyer I know, the lawyer you didn't know. I used to be a lawyer. There's so many lawyers. So, if you want to believe what all these lawyers say, you want to watch lawyers read the case, that's a different type of channel. But I'm not that guy. I'm giving you from a police perspective.
Tonight, a Texas County District Judge is refusing to seal new details into the gruesome murders of two Kansas women.
The bodies of Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley were found last month. 5 people charged in connection to their deaths. News 4's John Hayes joins us now in studio with the latest. John.
Kevin and Jillian, the new details come from search warrants filed last week. Before we get to what they are, we do want to warn folks at home, some of them are disturbing. Search warrants filed May 15th shed light on what could have led up to the kidnapping and murders of Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley. The two women last seen Easter weekend, headed from Kansas to Oklahoma to visit Butler's children. 5 suspects, including the grandmother of Butler's kids, Tifany Adams, are facing charges for their deaths.
This case did not end the way we had hoped.
In one warrant, state investigators say Butler and Kelley's bodies were found inside of a chest freezer during a 2-day excavation of a burial site nearly 9 miles away from Butler's abandoned car. The cause of death was not detailed.
How can you hate somebody so much that you want to kill them? How can you hate the mother of your grandchildren so much that you want to end her life?
Warrants also detail suspicious items seized as evidence at the burial site, like duct tape, a sheath, a black knife, ball caps, and cloth gloves with possible blood on all of them.
Now, very interesting, right? Very, very interesting, because I'm going to replay that in a second. Who do you think that belongs to? These geniuses threw forensic evidence in the gravesite with these poor women. So that is what will link it back, besides a million other things that'll link it to these people. That is tremendous evidence. And when they test those items for DNA, when they test those items for blood, when they do an investigation on those items, those, I shouldn't call them items, pieces of evidence. It's, the case is like, don't forget, everyone, this is a death penalty case, a death penalty case. And one of the things we said earlier on is that, well, maybe they'll cut a deal with somebody, because there's got to be a weak link in this, right? There's got to be a weak link in this, because they got to cut a deal with someone, don't they? Or do they even need to? Rock Chalk, so good to meet you here. Thank you so much. Rock Chalk has just gifted 10 police off the cuff memberships. My Lord, thank you so much. That's why this family is growing, because of people like Rock Chalk. And Rock Chalk, as I listed my police off the cuff email, I would love to do a show with you. I know you have boots on the ground knowledge of this case. And I would love to hear your perspective on this, because what I'm doing a lot with my show is I learn about the evidence. I learn about the case, and then I give my expert opinion. And am I always right? Nah, not always right. But having boots on the ground, 100% different perspective, a whole different perspective. When I was in Manhattan North Homicide, or actually before that, I was in the 2-3 detective squad. Whenever we had a murder in the precinct, and it was a shooting or a stabbing, whatever it was, that if it was out on the street, I would encourage the detectives to bring as many people into the station house as possible. Because even if they weren't a witness, they know people, they hear things, You hear of an eyewitness, you hear of an ear witness, you have witnesses that just hear things. So we used to bring people in, and we didn't think they knew anything. All of a sudden, we got the whole story about what happened. So when I talk about Rock Chalk, who has been boots on the ground during this case, I bet she ran into some interesting people and some not so interesting people during her boots on the ground investigation. So Rock Chalk, absolutely. Email me at the police off the cuff 1@gmail.com. I'd be thrilled to do a show with you. So let me get back to that, because this is so important. The evidence they found in the grave. And one of the horrific things I find out about this case, they are not telling us how Veronica and hang on, let me put the picture up on the screen. How Veronica and Jilian, how they were killed. And we don't know specifically where they were killed. And you think of the horrific thought of, could they have been buried while still alive? And just think of how horrendous. But I don't put anything past these people. These people are savages, There they are up on the screen. But, we're missing the fifth. I'll put the fifth up there. Here's the one with the fifth. They set up an ambush. They ambushed these poor women, right? And then everything was planned, and then they go to bury them in the 15-foot deep ditch. And thank God they're such geniuses. They bury their own stuff, and they have burner phones that led the police right to the location. And also that what they did, thank you, they opened up their stupid big mouths. But that's great. That's great for law enforcement, not great for them. Let me go back to this. We'll show some of the items that they left.
Ball caps and cloth gloves with possible blood on all of them. Documents also state that the latest suspect charged for the murders, Paul Grice, went to a witness's house after the arrest of the 4 other suspects. While there, documents say Grice asked how long DNA would last on clothing in the dirt in a 15 feet.
I love that. I love that. He's obviously not a fan of true crime, or he would have learned this. If he was a fan of police off the cuff, he would have learned this, But instead, he doesn't know anything. He's uneducated. He's asking someone a question. How long does the DNA evidence last underground? What a rocket scientist. Wow. He must have invented the theorem E=mc². What an absolute genius, And then that wasn't enough. Then he's asking people, does anyone know anyone that could get my family and I into Mexico? Just jump in your car and drive, fool. But he's asking someone again. Premeditation shows what Mike Geary would be proud of me to say is consciousness of guilt. He's guilty and he's trying to escape and he's trying to get his family to go with him. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff, real crime stories. If you like real crime, true crime from a police perspective, then you're in the right place. And if you're not subscribed, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, share us with your friends and your family. And if you want to contribute to us, we have a Patreon with 4 different levels. I'm missing my thumb there. I'm showing you 4 different levels. And we have a YouTube channel membership with 5 different levels. And Rock Chalk just donated 10 Police Off the Cuff memberships. So I'm going to have people from all over the world. We are the world. We are the children. You're going to come on Police Off the Cuff. Join us. Join the Police Off the Cuff family. Let me go back to this to show what these geniuses threw in the ditch with these poor women.
Beat deep hole if DNA would survive in churned dirt and if the source knew how to get a guy and his family to Mexico.
They deserve to rot and burn in the depths of hell for all I care.
And the next phase of this case will be collecting and reviewing physical evidence with no firm trial dates ironed out just yet. We'll update you as we learn more.
So this could be, this case, again, it's just like, it's like the Koberger case in Idaho. I'm not comparing it to that case, but what I am making a comparison to is how long it'll take this case to go to trial. It could take years and years, right? The Gilgo case, they just did another search warrant on Monday at Rex Schuman's house. That case is nowhere close to going to trial. So all these cases are very complicated. And much of the complication comes from, our system and the need to be fair and to share the evidence with the defense in something called discovery, right? So we have to share that evidence. And in cases like this, it can take actually almost years to go through all this evidence. And you don't think that. But in this case, for example, think of all the evidence they have. Digital evidence. Some of the most important evidence is digital evidence, right? What does that mean? Cell phone evidence. Remember the burner phones? Not just the burner phones, but how about Granny's phone before she had those burner phones? Here, there's Granny. There's 53-year-old Granny. Her own phone was tremendous amount of evidence with that. How about that she bought stun guns at a store? I believe it was 5 stun guns. And there's obviously a receipt for that. There's probably video of her buying it. And how about she bought 3 burner phones? And all the numbers they have and all the conspirators, these conspirators we see, are all talking to each other on these burner phones. That is what's called digital evidence. Digital evidence that will call detailing, right? We saw that yesterday in the Koberger hearing. Call detailing. What is that? Call detailing is incoming, outgoing calls. Included with that call detailing are cell site information. Where is the phone pinging on the cell sites? And all of these people that think they're digital geniuses, this science has come so far in the last 10, 15 years. It's not even close to where it was when I was on the NYPD 13 years ago. They're in another stratosphere. They have capabilities. They found these phones within 15 feet of where they said they were. And that's where the crime scene was. So all these geniuses that said, oh, they couldn't possibly, well, watch what law enforcement does. Isn't it amazing how law enforcement showed up at the gravesite of these 2 women? And they did it how? Did they do it because people talked and told them where it was? No. The way they did it was they tracked the phones to that location, right? So the new evidence, besides what they've thrown in the gravesite, right? They haven't even gone through all of the digital evidence yet, because all of this stuff takes a tremendous amount of time. Wow, there's 85 comments in the comments. I'm going to try to get back to them. Rock Chalk, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Hello, Helen, the Scottish Llama. Wow. People see what I said? People from all over the world. Scotland. Wow. That's amazing. I was thinking of Wild Mountain Time, that song. Oh, the sun and the wild mountain time goes around the blooming heather. Won't you go, lassie, go? No more songs. Some people will like it. Some people will leave because I just sang a song. So Emily Hayes, nice last name. Lizzie, Miss Lizzie, Lizzie Herzberger, good friend of mine, author of Behind Blue Curtains. And I always, every time I see Lizzie in the chat, I said, go on Amazon and buy her book. She's amazing. Soon a documentary will be coming out about her life. And let me just write it in the chat. It's Behind Blue Curtains. And you can get it on Amazon. It details Lizzie's life in the Amish world. And I'm not going to say what it was because YouTube loves to demonetize me for just saying one word. So I won't say what it is, but it details her life in the Amish community, which she no longer is part of. Juanita Lewis from the chat, the 5 thought all their evidence was put and hidden in the freezer. They all thought they were home free. You know, Juanita Lewis, isn't that the truth? They were geniuses, right? Let's put the bodies in a freezer. Let's put all our stuff in with the bodies. And big mistake. They don't realize the police are tracking the burner phones right to that very location. And now, instead of getting rid of the evidence, you just put it in the same container where the most important evidence in this whole case is, and that's the bodies of the victims. So you can just see these geniuses are not too smart, right? Samantha Fitzsimons from the chat, the cult-like mentality in drugs will make people do anything. If drugs were involved, then add paranoia. These horrible people turned into monsters. Samantha Fitzsimmons, you're so right. And I hope it's Simmons and not Simons. It could be Simons. Samantha Fitzsimons, probably. You're 100% right. You know, I love to read the comments because a lot of you guys make a hell of a lot of sense. Rock Chalk, True Crime, I will email you. I'm looking forward to it. And I don't look forward to everyone's email, but Rock Chalk, I'm looking forward to your email. I've heard about you from some of the people in the chat that I've been covering this case. Heather Whatever, look at Heather Whatever is in the chat. Rock Chalk, yay, love your name. It used to be my business. Sold gymnastic chalk to climbers called Rock Chalk. Wow. I wouldn't have known what that was. Nighthawk08, proud to be a mod for Rock Chalk. Hey, you know something? There's all kinds of, if I can editorialize for a second, there's all kinds of content creators. Some sensational, some not sensational, some knowledgeable, some just make shit up. And everyone figures out who's who after a while, you know? And does that mean that the sensational ones don't do very well? No, some of them do great, you know? But I think it's what I think of as you need to maintain your integrity when you do this stuff, because people accuse you of sensationalizing anyway. But you know something? I don't think I do that. Winnie Keith from the chat, this was a setup. All 5 adults planned their murders. It is heartbreaking. And those who grew up here are in shock. Murder is rare. I know innocence before guilt, but common sense says, thanks. Yeah, Winnie Keith, you're 100% correct. Oh my gosh. Oh, devoir. My French is lacking again. Devoir. Oh my gosh, the older lady that pulled a gun on her. Yeah, Devoir, I had heard that in regards to Rock Chalk, that someone from the community pulled a gun on her. And I'll get the story from Rock Chalk, and perhaps we'll talk about that when She comes on my show. Lotus, if they were smart, they would have not brought any cell phones, got rid of the car, got rid of the victim's cell phones, like drive the phones back to the town they came from in Kansas. Lotus, that's the whole thing, though, that you have to understand. People with criminal minds are not smart, all right? You're giving them too much credit. The media gives them too much credit. They are not smart, or they wouldn't be killing somebody. You know what I mean? Is everyone that kills someone not smart? I think that's one of the requirements to kill someone, unless it's under different circumstances, self-defense or something like that. Rock Chalk, I had a gun pulled on me on live from suspect's mom. Yes, we will talk. Wow. It's scary to have a gun pulled on you. I know I've had it done too. I've been shot at also, so I know what it's like. It is scary. It's very scary, especially when you don't know what the mental capacity is of the person that pulled the gun on you, right? Sean Krieger, that's a good idea, just bringing people into here, secondhand information, even third-hand information. It's great to see all you new people in the chat. I just hope some of you new people like Sean Krieger, I hope you're subscribed. Is the first seeing your name in the chat. Buffalo Gal, Rock Chalk has been through a lot to get at the truth, but it doesn't stop her. Rock Chalk, I'm just going to say be very careful because, you know, people don't care that you're a YouTube content creator. People will kill you. They don't care, you know. These people in God's misfits and crime go very deep. Wow, it'll be great to hear you. Karen Solak, holy cannoli at Rock Chalk. So that's so crazy. Rich Borgia, hey, Sergeant Bill, and you entering the no spin zone, the police off the cuff zone to your intro. Well, you know, my intro is meant to be both amusing and true. But look, what would I say? Hold on to your wig, hold on to your toupee. But it wasn't trying to be funny. But it's true. But it also is meant to be humorous because I think when you do such serious stuff like true crime, every once in a while you need a little levity. You need a little comic relief, and I think it's important to throw some humor in there. Sean Krieger, what did they do with the car they were driving? Well, their car they left on the scene. The victim's car, they left it on the scene. You see the women in that. Veronica, Butler, and Jilian Kelley, their car was left on the scene. But the cars that were driven there, the pickup trucks, they drove them back home. The Twombleys had some, and their daughter was asked to clean them out because there potentially was blood, DNA, that type of thing. So when anyone thinks that criminals are smart, there's some more evidence that they're not too smart. Exeter Line 1930 would be the same as if Koberger took off his clothes and left them in the kitchen of the King Road house. Yeah, that evidence that they threw in the chest freezer is like, you talk about the nail in your coffin. Yeah, that's the nail in your coffin. Sherry Murray, love your humor, Sarge. Thank you. Not that it's important. I did stand-up comedy for 7 years, and then during COVID, I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going back to doing it. But I somewhat miss it sometimes. I don't miss the hustle. I just miss the performing part, you know. Michelle Battersby, Rock Chalk, respect and bravery. You are one amazing person. Thank you for everything you do. That's great. Rock Chalk, you got people on here, people in the chat that are respecting what you do. And that's more than a lot of content creators get on YouTube. Poppy Pop, wonder if they planned while watching Looney Tunes, thinking of the anvil thing. Yeah, isn't that? I kept thinking of that, Poppy Pop. And for those of you who don't know, is that one of the ways they were thinking of killing Veronica and Jilian was to throw an anvil through their windshield. Like, that's right. That sounds ridiculous, right? It sounds ridiculous unless you're watching the Roadrunner in a cartoon, right? KK, Bill, lots of corruption in Oklahoma. Rock Chalk helping to expose it. Justice for Veronica and Jilian. 100%. 100%. Wendy Keith, I think they're not releasing the manner of death to protect children safe from all the coverage. The main reason my heart hurts Many innocent children traumatized by these awful adults. Wendy Keith, at some point that is going to come out, when all of the discovery is released to the defense, that in fact will come out. So they can't protect the children forever. That will absolutely come out. Nighthawk 08, sir, thanks for staying on this also. Well, thank you. I just wasn't sure I would have enough to do a show today because this isn't all brand new, off the press, ink isn't even dry yet information. But I think it's important not just to talk about the new information, but how the evidence is going to be used and what type of evidence do they have. Helen the Scottish Llama, Wendy Keith, you could probably guess the cause. How about Veronica Butler's children? To give them time to understand the cause of death in Jilian's children too. Yeah, it's horrific. Devoir, I'm 54 and I can't take HRT and I still don't look as weathered. No, that's those are hard years. As I said, those are what we would call in the biz dog years. When you're young and you look old, it's got to be some hard living. We used to say another funny expression was, if you compared it to a car, it's got a lot of mileage on her, and it's not highway driving. That was one of my favorite little jokes back in the day. Yeah, she's got lots of mileage on her, or not her, or him, or they have lots of mileage on them, and it's not highway driving. How everyone, they want to sell you a car. Oh, there's 160,000 miles on it, but it's all highway. In the theory that stop and go driving destroys cars, does the same thing to human beings. Stop and go driving is gonna kill you, Helen the Scottish Llama, my grandparents looked young too. Whoa. Forever young, right? Everyone wants to be forever young. Just to show again, Rock Chalk gifted 10 police off the cuff memberships. Thank you so much. Devoir, I don't know if the state will allow him to take a plea deal. Well, Devoir, if there is a plea deal, the plea would be life in prison without parole. I think they might give that to one person, the weakest link in the whole case, for testimony. Because if one of the co-conspirators testifies against the other one or the other ones, that will be like a slam dunk case. But you know something? I don't know if they need it. I think this is a strong, strong case as it is. Michelle Battersby, my goodness, I can't even imagine. Do I really want to, for putting myself in that position? Good Lord. Yeah, this is, we've all heard the expression, bad things happen to good people. And that's absolutely true. Sometimes really bad things happen to good people. And, as we talk about, is life is a life of chance, and sometimes bad things happen to you, to good people. Bad things happen to good people. Hey, it's Jay. You're so awesome. Your humor. Well, thank you. I thought it was going to be Hey Joe. I was going to sing the Hey Joe tune from Jimi Hendrix. Hey Joe, where you going with that gun in your hand, right? Jordan Davies, I foresee a death penalty for sure. I believe they're not saying much, so the jury pool wouldn't get contaminated with news locally. Devoir, as in the Idaho case, the 4 students murdered off the campus of the University of Idaho. Under arrest is alleged killer Brian Koberger. This case could also request a change of venue because they're going to say there's no way they could get a fair trial in this area, So when we talk about this case lasting forever, that's one of the reasons they're going to ask for a change of venue down the road. I almost guarantee it, Jane Walker, love your singing. Love when your mind goes metal yellow, first red. Thank you, Jane. Something, as I said, even in these very serious topics that we cover, you have to have some humor. You have to have some comedy, some relief, because that's how we got through the police department. You could ask Lieutenant Pete. Humor is what saves you. Humor and camaraderie, esprit de corps, is how you get through it. How you beat PTSD, which is sometimes fatal or kills people. So yeah, that is how you get through it. Helen the Scottish Llama. I love Scottish folk songs. I also love Gaelic. Not that I speak it. Margaret Pithy. Lots of love to you all from Glasgow, Scotland. I was in Glasgow and I went to Edinburgh. I can't think of how many years ago it is right now. And actually, there was a comedy club in Edinburgh, and I actually performed at it. And I tried to, they only gave me 5 minutes. I was like, can I have 15? And they wouldn't give me any more than 5 minutes. So it went so fast, but it was good to say that I performed in another country, So Lotus, they watched too much Sopranos. Yeah, these people thought they were professional hit people. Chitwin Slim, they did a lot of things wrong, but all criminals do. Something these people, you look at their photos even, they are definitely not advanced than rocket scientists. They're not part of the Goddard rocket facility, this is the ringleader. That should tell you everything you need to know. That's the ringleader of this case. And then these individuals followed her. And then they added a fifth, this idiot, Paul Grice, and all to kill these two women. They threw their lives away to kill Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley. And the real target was Veronica Butler. And there's all five together, That's the rogues gallery, as we would call it. So, I wonder what they think about when they wake up every morning now and they're in jail. They're in jail and they're facing the death penalty. I wonder what they think about. You ever think of that? What if someone that was once free, once could go out and about, get in their car, travel, eat what they want, shower when they want, go out to dinner, go out on a date, go watch a movie. Now you're in jail. You take a shower when they tell you you can. You eat what the slop that they throw in front of you, Just think, to achieve that, you killed somebody. 2 people. You killed 2 people. And your reward is now life in prison. Well, if you're convicted. Now, again, they're all innocent till proven guilty.
Murder in Oklahoma. Search warrants outline what may have happened leading up to the kidnapping and murder of the 2 Kansas women. Nick Smith is live in the newsroom. And Nick, quite a lot revealed in these documents.
Yeah, Nicole, definitely. More than we knew before News Nation obtained copies of these new search warrants filed in court less than a week ago. And now, new information about the days following the deaths of Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley. The warrants seek to collect DNA samples from the suspects, as well as search their cars and phones for evidence. Among the more shocking information revealed in the documents, we have learned that the bodies of the 2 women were found in a chest freezer buried in a cow pasture. It took investigators 2 days to excavate the site, and when they did, documents revealed that several items were found with what appeared to be blood on them, including clothes, duct tape, and a black sheath knife. Also detailed in the warrant, the suspicious behavior of the 5th suspect arrested in the case, Paul Grice. Witnesses told investigators Grice asked how long DNA would last on clothing buried in the dirt, and asked the same witness, quote, how to get a guy and his family to Mexico. Nicole, there's still a lot we don't know in this case, including how the 2 women died. The judge in the case has ordered the full medical examiner's report to be withheld for at least 6 months. The next court appearance is a discovery hearing scheduled for June 19th, and News Nation will be there. Nicole?
Absolutely. All right, Nick, thank you.
We will find out about new information in this case through the discovery process. And that's the only way. Wow, Emily Parkinson. I'm getting all these new members. Thank you so much. Emily Parkinson, Parkinson, or is it Parkinson? I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly. Emily Parkinson gifted 5 police off the cuff memberships. Thank you so much. The police off the cuff family is growing by leaps and bounds. The channel is growing by leaps and bounds. I'm really proud of this channel and how far it's come, but you never want to rest on your laurels. You always want to keep moving forward, keep going, and keep growing, as they say. Isn't that what they always say? Someone said that to me once. Hey, it's Jay. I don't think anyone could believe their stories. How can anyone be so dumb to believe? Well, there's a lot of dumb people in this world, you know. Karen Solak, these people seem to have more nerve than brains. Yeah, they don't have brains. They don't have really Nighthawk 08, since gifting in here, love this. Nighthawk 08, welcome. Just make sure all you newbies just hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It's free. It's free. It's free. As that's what Joe Rogan always says. It's free. I don't know why he says that, but he does. I watch Joe Rogan once in a while. He's number one. Watch it, Joe Rogan. I'm coming for you. You know. Jordan Davies. I like to watch channels that talk about facts and the truth, not all kinds of made up crap. Thank you, Jordan. That's what I try to do. Duvar. Close enough, Bill. I guess, is that how I pronounce your name? I guess that's close enough. Okay. Mama Bear, from this whole story is so damn sad. It certainly is. Yep. Rock Chalk, not a lot happening in no man's land. Not rare, a lot happening in no man's land. Yeah, I mean, you know, all of these places, almost every place in the country has a drug problem. Every single town, every single city in this country has it, whether it's methamphetamines, whether it's fentanyl, whether it's cocaine. Every city in this country has a drug problem. Daddy Crab from the chat. Thank you for the $4.99 super sticker. They think they're smart by not smarter than a police and a forensic team. Daddy Crab, you're 100% right. And there are so many ways to get you these days. There's so many different types of evidence and ways to collect the evidence and ways that you can get caught. Here he is asking, how long does DNA last below the ground? Well, basically forever. You know what I mean? Well, we've never tested DNA, but they're solving cases from 30 and 40 years ago from old DNA. Haven't you watched TV? You know, have you watched Criminal Minds? Have you watched any of the forensic shows on TV? Basically, it lasts forever. I guess Paul Grice didn't watch TV. He's not a big TV watcher, you know. Michelle Battersby, exactly, Sergeant Bill, integrity. Well, thank you, guys. Uncle Hank, Don Wells is smarter. I don't know if Don Wells is not a smart dude, you know. Don and Candace Wells, two of the smartest individuals. Emily Hayes, I'll become a member. I promise someday to support the channel. Emily, thank you. Thank you very much. It's the first time I've seen you in the chat, but thank you and for being here. Donna Hoy, 456 in the chat. Welcome, everyone. Just make sure you give it a thumbs up. Mouse said how this whole thing started to protect children. They are the ones who are hurt the most. Isn't that the truth? To protect children. Miss Collector's Item, what's the new evidence? The new evidence is the evidence that was thrown into the chest freezer with the 2 bodies. And that was a K-bar knife, clothing, bloody clothing. I don't have the whole list, but that evidence was thrown into where the victims were buried. And that is the evidence they're talking about that that is new. And, you know, one of the things also early on in this case, Tifany Adams, grandma, let me put grandma, I always like to put grandma up on the screen. Tifany Adams confessed, said she was responsible for these murders. I don't know how detailed she went into it because we still don't know the cause of death, do we? We were never told. The manner of death is homicide, right? The cause, was still not told, and the judge is not releasing that. So early on in this investigation, Tifany Adams, she made a statement. She made a confession. Now you hear talking head attorneys that are on YouTube say, "Oh, what does that mean? The police this, the police that." No, if you make a confession, attorneys will act like it's no big deal. They hate clients that confess. Trust me, they do not like that. Let's go to Banfield for a second.
Murder plot in Oklahoma weren't meant to be found for decades, if ever. That's according to the court documents filed by investigators. They say Tad Cullum, boyfriend of Grandma Tifany Adams, buried the women's bodies in a 10-foot hole in a pasture that he was renting from a man named Michael Beasley. 2 days before the women disappeared, Tad allegedly asked his landlord if he could use a skid steer to remove a stump and bury some concrete and do some dirt work on the land near a dam. And the landowner said, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." But the day after the women disappeared, Tad allegedly told the landlord, now there might be a problem. He said the police were looking at him, Tad, as a possible suspect, and that the skid steer might, the tracks might look suspicious, to which the landlord responded that if anyone asked, he would say what he knew, that Tad had been out doing some work, dirt work. News Nation's senior national correspondent Brian Enton got exclusive access to the property, and there was dirt work, all right. A massive 10-foot grave had been dug and filled back in within hours. Here's what Brian saw on the night that he went out.
It's dark out here, so bear with me, but this is the area where the missing women were found. This is the spot. You remember in the police report, they mentioned a dam. This right here, this buildup of dirt, this is the dam. There's a pond on the other side. And if you walk with me this way, just about 50 feet or so, maybe a little more from the dam, you can see where the earth is disturbed, where the tractors were out here. This is where investigators came. They dug right in this area, went down about 10 feet, I'm told, and this is where they discovered the missing moms' bodies. If you look in the distance there, you can see there is a pile of hay back there. I am told by sources that hay was moved over the area where the digging happened, that Tad, the suspect Tad, moved that hay over here to cover up the area where he was digging, hoping that the cows, this is there's a cow farm here, that the cows would come over, this is a ranch, and start feeding on the hay and make the area look less suspicious. But still, investigators were led to this spot. And again, this is the area.
There's a guy thinking out of the box. Tad, beautiful, very smart. The cows, put the hay. The cows will walk over where we buried the bodies, and it'll just look like the cows made a mess. These guys are amazing.
Area right here where they started digging and they found the bodies.
Just incredible work by Brian Enton. I misspoke. It was not Michael Beasley. The landowner's Jamie Beasley. And again, he leased the land to Tad Cullum. And Tad Cullum asked the landlord, mind if I just do some dirt work down there? Thank you for watching.
So amazing, right? Someone in the chat keeps asking me, and I answered it already. Keep this on track. New evidence. I just told you. In the chest freezer where the bodies were found, the perpetrators left the knife, a K-bar knife, clothing, hats, and many of these items had blood on them. That's the new evidence that was never released before, that this was in the chest freezer, along with other things found on that scene. Again, let's also realize that this evidence becomes so strong because it's in a chest freezer with the two bodies of the victims. So these geniuses, these criminals, the 5 involved in this, figure, let's get rid of everything and they'll never find anything. They'll never find the bodies. They'll never find this. Let's throw the knife, our clothing, and duct tape. There was a bunch of things. I don't have the list with me right now, into the chest freezer because they figured they're never going to find this. They're never going to find any of this. So let's just throw it into the hole here. And that's what they did. And Pamela White, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. I love listening to you, Bill. Well, thank you, Pamela White, so much. Thank you so much for your support. Miss Collections item CA. Is that okay? Do you understand now? Are you clear with that's what the evidence they found? Rock Chalk, true crime. iPhone is recovered in the arrest affidavit, at least one. I know that they also recovered all of the burner phones. So the evidence that they have in this case is tremendous. It's tremendous. But this additional evidence dots the I's and crosses the T's, because the evidence that was found, of course, was in the grave that was never, ever supposed to be discovered. Michelle Battersby, Sergeant Bill, you're keeping the case alive. Thank you. Well, thank you. I don't want to get like redundant and not just come on when there's nothing new, but this is new, because I think that, all these cases, Heather, whatever, my grandparents always looked old, but so precious. Hey, it's Jay. Rock all rocks. What do we got here? Lotus, my hubby keeps his anvil in his shop next to the vice grip. I don't know why any would be driving around with one, maybe a portable blacksmith or horseshoer. Yeah, that whole plan, it was reported that they were going to try to throw an anvil through their windshield. I don't know. That just sounds so crazy. I know, of course, the funny part of it is that we think that Sassy Girl looking like Paul G is the weak link. Sassy Girl, he talked. He confessed too. So he's useless now as to cut a deal for himself, because he already, unless when he confessed, he had some written deal. Otherwise, he just confessed. He's not getting any deal. He could still get the death penalty. We always thought, at least Mike Geary, my co-host, thought that Cora Twombly, the bottom right on this thumbnail, was the weak link, that she was the one that would sing like a parakeet. We don't have any evidence of that, but she seemed like the weakest link when they first made these arrests. But that was before they brought Paul Grice in. I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is part of the affidavit. And this was one of the most important things. I just knocked it off the screen somehow. Let me see. Here we go. See if I can get it again. Okay. Let me just make it a little smaller because it just jumped up. I think this was one of the most important parts. That's where the daughter, the 16-year-old daughter, speaks to the police. And I think that was one of the most important things. Let me just put this up on the screen till I find this, where it was in this case. That the 16-year-old daughter of Cora Twombly immediately started talking to the police when they came to their house. And that, I think, was one of the most important things, because eyewitness, well, it wasn't even eyewitness. In this case, it was somewhat like ear witness testimony, that she had heard things that her mother, Cora, she had said, "Oh, I heard they're buried in the ground like 10 or 15 feet. Is that true?" And her mother responded, "Yes, something like that." Like, how horrific is that? Something like that. Yeah, she sort of confirmed it, just absolutely horrific. No, I can't find it, of course. Let me see if I can. It may be on the other affidavit I have, but so yeah, just absolutely. Here we go. I found it, guys. Let me take this off the screen. Stop sharing that and put this new one up on the screen. Here we go. This perhaps was one of the most important parts. On April 3rd, 2024, OSBI interviewed, I'm afraid to make it bigger because I don't want to lose it from the screen. OSBI interviewed complainant witness, age 16. And we just know they're not naming her by name. This is Cora Twombly's daughter. Complainant witness is the daughter of Cora Twombly and Kobe White. Cora is married to Cole Twombly. Complainant witness stated that she had overheard group conversations related to Butler not protecting her children from her brother, all in reference to her SA abuse allegations. And we all know what that is. I'm not going to say it on. CW advised that she was told by Cora that Adams, Cullum, Cora Cole, and Paul Grace were involved in the deaths of Butler and Kelley. She stated that Adams provided burner phones to use so they could communicate without using their personal devices. Complainant witness saw 2 burner phones charging on Cora's nightstand in her bedroom. How powerful is that? How powerful is that evidence? That not only did she know about the burner phones, but she saw 2 burner phones charging on the dresser. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You know, these connections, connect the dots. Complainant witness described Cora. Let me put it back on the screen. Complainant witness described Cora Cole, Adams, Cullum, Paul Grace as being part of an anti-government group that had a religious affiliation. Through OSBI investigation, it was learned that they called their group God's Misfits. Regular meetings are held weekly at Twombly's and the home of Barrett and Lacey Cook. Barrett and Lacey Cook were the 2 people that took the children while Granny Adams, I don't know who has the children now. I think other family members have them, but initially they took the children when Granny Adams was arrested and she was in jail, or she still is in jail. Complainant witness was told by Cora on March 29, 2024, that Cora and Cole would not be home in the morning when she woke and that they were going to be on a mission. When complainant witness awoke at approximately 1000 hours, Cora and Cole were not home, but came home around 1200 hours. Complainant witness knew that Cole and Cora took a blue and gray Chevrolet pickup owned by them and a blue flatbed pickup owned by Clint Twombly when they left and returned in the same vehicles. Complainant witness was told to clean the interior of the Chevrolet pickup. Complainant witness asked Cora what happened and was told that things did not go as planned, but that they would not have to worry about her, Butler, Veronica Butler, the mother of the children. Complainant witness was told that Cora and Cole blocked the road to stop Butler and Kelley and divert them to where Adams, Cullum, and Grace were. Complainant witness asked about Kelley and why she had to die and was told by Cora that she wasn't innocent either, as she had supported Butler. Complainant asked Cora if their bodies were put in a well, and Cora replied, something like that. Complainant witness also disclosed that other attempts to kill Butler occurred during February of 2024 near Yucatan, Kansas, in which Adams, Cullum, Cole, Cora, and Grace went to Yucatan. But Butler did not leave her residence. This is consistent with the web search discovered on Adams' phone about how to get someone out of their house. According to Cora, the plan was to throw an anvil through Butler's windshield while driving, making it look like an accident because anvils regularly fall off work vehicles. Complainant witness was made to clean the interior of the blue and gray Chevrolet pickup after Cora and Cole returned from the mission. A friend of complainant witness, identified and interviewed by the OSBI and known as AH, assisted complainant witness in cleaning the pickup and observed a stain on the carpet that she thought might be blood. While in Carrick, Texas, interviewing complainant witness and her brother, Cora and Cole arrived and tried to get access to complainant witness and her brother while driving the same blue and gray Chevrolet pickup truck identified by complainant witness as taken on the mission. Cora and Cole were arrested on April 13th, 2024 in rural Cimarron County, Texas, driving the blue and gray Chevrolet pickup. The pickup was secured by OSBI and is their custody at this time in Texas County, Oklahoma. Your affiant identified the pickup as a 1991 Chevrolet 1500 pickup, blue and gray in color, bearing Oklahoma tag, Ida John Frank 605, and he has the VIN number. I'm not going to read that. This pickup is the same one that your affiant saw Cole and Cora driving in Carrick, Texas. Your affiant also has seen this pickup at the Twombly residence since March 30th, 2024. So the affiant is the detective. Okay, he's the one that signed this. The complainant witness is Cora Twombly's daughter. So look at, now we're connecting the dots on this evidence. Tremendous, right? So the pickup trucks that had the physical evidence, potentially blood evidence in it, Cora, Twombly, and Cole asked the complainant witness, the 16-year-old daughter of Cora, to clean it. Premeditation, right? Consciousness of guilt. They want her to get rid of the evidence, right? Clean up the evidence up. But isn't it amazing how the complainant witness knows the whole story before the police even did, right? And before they'd collected, before they'd recovered the bodies. She knew the whole story. So does that make the story when they recover the bodies and they had the story ahead of time, does that make the story that much more believable? You bet. You bet. Rebecca, Cora looked haggard at her last court appearance. You know, jail's no joke, you know, especially when you're used to being free. Sherry, Nevada pup, I must be a good people because I keep getting screwed out of money that is owed to me. Rock Chalk. Montebello, lots of children affected here. It is very sad. Lots of children are affected. Pamela White from the chat, thank you for your perspective, Bill, on these crimes. You know, I think that lots of times, Stacy, I have to read this one because, you know, whenever I get a compliment, I have to read it. Stacy, you're so hot, Sergeant Bill. Well, Stacy, thank you so much. It makes me feel so nice that you said that. Rock Nation fan, I think they're trying to prove with all the security not to move trial, but that train, well, you can't secure that. You know, this case, again, it's so far away from going to trial. It's far away. Rock Chalk, I follow Idaho 4. I believe All Heart BK is fed. I can't see the little icon you have there. My opinion. Juanita Lewis, I don't know if the children will understand this hits home because my nephew was murdered 8 years in Ardmore, Oklahoma. His son just turned 18, his daughter 17, the struggle every day. Juanita Lewis, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I can't even imagine a child that loses a parent in a violent manner. It's got to be just so horrific to get over something like that. Hey, it's Jay. It's hard to accept when bad things happen to good people. I always want justice for victims. I know true crime friends do as well. When we don't see justice happen to victims, it's hard to swallow. 100%. Rock Chalk definitely can't secure or stop the train. That's for sure. I'm trying to look through the chat for some good. Mushroom and weed, they never have showed remorse. No, they haven't, have they? People won't show remorse until it benefits them to do so, you know. Maybe in court when they're getting sentenced, they'll say how sorry they are. What they mean is they're sorry that they got caught, not that they're sorry they did it, you know. Nighthawk 08, how they think they can get away with this. They are delusional and thinking that. I think you're 100% right. Sassy girl, they think they're going home. Pipe dream, they are crazy. Yeah, no one's going home. No one in this case is going home. Trust me, you know. I mean, they may even think that they can get bail, you know, to get bailed out till trial. That's not happening either, you know, because I would say they're a danger to the community, don't you think? That's one reason not to get bail. Rebecca from the chat, man, I don't know why you would risk throwing the rest of your life away like these 5 clowns. Yeah, they did. They threw their lives away. That's a little too late to think of that right now, right? Rock Chalk, true crime. Only 2 that seem regretful are Paul and Cora. So Paul Grace and Cora Twombly. But Rock Chalk, I always think, are they sorry or they're sorry they got caught? That's what I always think in these unbelievable. And Granny, Rock Nation fan, and Granny was such a control freak, had money to get what she wanted and used people. Now she's the one being controlled. Yeah. It's not easy to going from being a free person to now having people telling you when you can go to the bathroom, when you can take a shower, when you can eat, when you can go to sleep, lights on, lights off, all of those things. Now you don't make those decisions anymore. You're a prisoner of the state, well, initially of the county, and if you get convicted, you will be in the Howard Johnsons of the state for the rest of your life, unless, in this case, they get the death penalty. And I didn't mean to disparage Howard Johnson's hotels. I just thought that was a good analogy. Mom from the chat, how stupid they are throwing away for nothing. The kids are kids for another 10 years, and then they will make their own choices. This will all just pass. Yeah. They are not the sharpest tools in the shed. Rock Chalk, love Joe Rogan, but kiddo fights UFC. My son had not a UFC fight. He had an MMA fight, and we were like not happy that he did it. We paid for him to go to college, and here he is ready to have his brains re-scrambled in the ring. Well, he won his fight, and that was a 1-0. He's undefeated. He's 1-0, and he'll hopefully never fight in the cage again. So, Bill, what are your thoughts on the items found in the burial site? I think Sassy Girl, it belongs to the perpetrators. We said there was a K-bar knife, right? That could be the murder weapon. There was duct tape. I think there was a hat. All of those items, these geniuses figure, let's just throw it into the chest freezer because they're never going to find this and never going to find the bodies. Wrong. Now, not only did they find the bodies, but they found all the evidence that you threw in with the bodies. So that is like, again, these people are not smart. Rebecca, I thought they were beaten with a hammer or stabbed. Emmy said they were not shot. Rebecca, we do not know. That's never been released. If people have inside information that they've heard this, heard that, it's never been confirmed by the authorities what the cause of death was. So we can't. I'm not going to say it because I don't know. I don't have independent knowledge about how it happened, and there is no Rock Chalk. I try to help anyone covering this case. There's so much to uncover. I can't even imagine what that area is like. I've never been to an area like that in Oklahoma or sort of out in the sticks. And I don't want to disparage the community. I'm sure it's a very close-knit community, hardworking people, farmers, cattle people. And that's just not my life, not where I've come from. I have no knowledge about that, but it's pretty amazing. I'm looking forward to speaking to you. Paul Grace, Rock Chalk. Paul Grace did a 35-page trying to denounce his United States citizenship. Yeah, sovereign citizens, I know they're anti-government people. They should go live in Iraq or Iran or something like that, and they'll see how much they hate this country. Proud American, Bill is funny today. Well, a little bit of humor thrown in there. Angela Anderson, I can't wrap my head around how that lady was able to convince 4 others to go through with this. How does this happen? Angela Anderson, I've said the same thing since the very beginning of this case. Optimistic Maya, to take away the lives of 2 innocent mothers is unconscionable. By the way they did it, the brutality was totally unnecessary. Granny is seriously psychologically disturbed. So is everyone else involved in this. They went along with it. They went along with this horrible, horrible murder, conspiracy to commit murder, right? Murder first degree, kidnapping, all of those things. All of those things can get you life without parole. In this case, the death penalty. So, Wilesy Pony, I like it better when you called her Granny, Sergeant Bill. Wilesy Pony, I'm glad that your fiance is feeling better. I'm glad he got through his procedure. I had the same thing done in July, but only one. I only had one. I'm talking about a stent. You guys, if you have never been checked, I was an athlete my whole life. And then, I don't know, after COVID, I wound up getting something called AFib. That's where your heart speeds up. I had to have like 2 or 3 procedures, more than that. Anyway, in the course of being checked for AFib, they discovered I had 85% blockage in my LAD. That's the artery that they call the widowmaker, because when people don't get checked, that causes either a heart attack or a stroke. So I went in last July and I had a stent put in, and I'm feeling great. And I work out every single day. Every single day I work out because I'm not taking anything for granted anymore. But Walsey, I'm glad your significant other is doing well. But just tell them this. You don't feel great immediately. I didn't feel good for months after it. So I know doctors always say, oh, you're going to feel good tomorrow. I didn't feel good for months after that happened. So I love doctors tell you how you're supposed to feel. Did you have that done, doc? No, then don't tell me how I'm supposed to feel, you know? I'm on a roll today. I don't know. I'm just on a roll. Missing Stolen Animals Ireland group. Hi, Sergeant Bill, watching from Ireland on this sunny Friday evening. I love your singing. In my memory, I will always see the town that I had loved so well, where our school played ball by the gas yard wall, and we laughed through the smoke and the smell. Going home in the rain, going up the dark lane, past the jail and down behind the fountain. Those were happy days in so many, many ways, in the town I love so well. I was on key, no instrument, no pitch pipe. I'm not going to congratulate myself, but that was a little sample. So, guys, I think that I covered just about all I could cover today in this case. There was new evidence, of course, the evidence that was dumped into the chest freezer where the two bodies of these poor women that would pray for them and their families, Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley, the two people in the middle of this rogues gallery here. And we will continue to cover this case as new information comes out, which will come out eventually, will come out from the discovery. So, folks, I want everyone, of course, to have a wonderful, and for those not in this country, from Europe, Great Britain, Australia, this is our Memorial Day weekend. And what we do on Memorial Day weekend, besides spend time with friends and family and barbecues and all that stuff, we think of our armed forces and the people who have lost their lives in defense of this country. And that's what Memorial Day weekend is supposed to be about. So, folks, I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Have a wonderful weekend, and God bless everybody.
One episode just ain't enough.